Vice President Kashim Shettima on Thursday met with the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres at the UN headquarters in New York, where they discussed issues bordering on pressing issues of regional security, humanitarian relief, and Nigeria's role in international cooperation. TVC News State House correspondent Femi Akonde reports.
Vice President Shettima solicited the United Nations support for Nigeria, especially the urgent need for relief efforts to address the devastating effects of climate change. He particularly drew the United Nations' attention to the urgent need for assistance in addressing the recent damages suffered by residents in Borno State. But he also acknowledged the efforts of the United Nations, calling for increased support in stabilizing the economic community of West African states and implementing enduring coordinated relief plans for flood victims across the country. He demanded more robust international assistance in tackling these challenges, highlighting the urgent need for action to mitigate the impacts of climate change and environmental threats on Nigeria. Nigerian government officials that attended the 79th United Nations General Assembly believes the country effectively used the global platform to advocate for social justice, peace and political stability around the world.
The flooding is a very, very unfortunate situation, but there's also a more larger issue that I think the United Nations and the international community can assist with. And getting our Vice President here, telling them this is what it's doing and this is what's affecting us is key towards, again, ensuring that we get this necessary support to solve problems.
Advancing inclusivity, advancing, the insurance of sustainable development goals, and also advancing the prospect of always finding a way to bring peace and justice and, to stop all the wrangling, the war that is going on in the world.
In a separate meeting, VP Shettima engaged with Commonwealth Secretary General Patricia Scotland. He described the Commonwealth as a family gathering that must be guarded jealously. The VP assured Scotland of Nigeria's continued support and participation, saying that Nigeria will play its equitable role in the Commonwealth draft declaration.
Nigerians traveling from Abuja to train stations in Kogi State are to enjoy 40% discount with the new agreement signed between the National Union of Road Transport Workers and the Presidential Initiative on Compressed Natural Gas. This initiative was unveiled during a Memorandum of Understanding signing ceremony with key stakeholders of the National Union of Road Transport Workers from Itakpe, Adavi and Ajaokuta train station units. Helen Osamide Akins has more.
The federal government promised to put measures in place to reduce the effect of the removal of fare subsidy. The government targets to at least reduce transportation costs by the end of October by 50%. Today, this target is gradually being achieved as 100 free CNG kits are to be installed for members of the National Union of Road Transport who travels to Adavi, Ajaokuta and Itakpe train stations in Kogi State. The program director and chief executive officer of the PICNG announced at the signing ceremony with the NUTRW members that they need to pass on the benefits of this initiative to their passengers, as failure will attract sanction.
Is to enable reduction of fare from Abuja to Kogi State, especially the Itakpe, Adavi and Ajaokuta stations. These stations are important stations to convey people all the way from Kogi to Delta State through Edo State. That means by the work we are doing here today, reducing the fare from the level of about 12,000–13,000 naira to 7,000 and 8,000 naira, you can now get to Delta State and Edo State for less than 10,000, sometimes even 12,000 or 13,000 naira as far as transportation is concerned. That's a good thing.
We are very sure that the effectiveness, if it materializes as they promised, we must comply to their decision. Because according to the agreement we signed with them, there's going to be a subsidized rate in transportation fare by the time the CNG kit is installed in our vehicles.
The committee revealed that more stations are to be commissioned to ensure availability of compressed natural gas to meet the gradual growing demands.
Equipment is already on ground. They are installing as we speak across Nigeria. We also, this week, we signed up with Matrix Energy. They are doing 5 immediately. They were doing Oyo, they were doing Delta, they were doing Abuja, and they were doing Niger States. So as you can see, additional investment is going into making sure that this infrastructure is available. NNPC on its part had already done 6 in Abuja, and of course we visited one of those sites yesterday, the one in Gadua, and we expect that the additional 6 they're expecting to commission before the end of October in Lagos.
The initiative also reviews plans to convert commercial tricycles to CNG. Helen Osamede Akins, TVC News, Abuja.
Let's talk about the environment. The ongoing special sensitization program of the National Orientation Agency on flooding arising from the overflow of the Lagdo Dam in Cameroon reached the people of Agenabode in Isako East Local Council area of Edo State with a message that community members should beware of the rising level of the Niger Trough in that area. The agency's flood sensitization evaluation team, who arrived at the community, observed that the riverbank has moved more than 50 meters inwards towards the community market within the last 18 days. The engagement began with a visit to the traditional ruler of the community, Okumagbe of Wano Kingdom, His Royal Majesty George Oshiapie Gabo, who praised the NOA for its consistent messages on the coming flood. He expressed gratitude for the NOA's efforts, recognizing the sensitization program as a timely initiative in light of recurring flood issues. The team, led by Nora Kobi, who is Director of Planning, Research and Strategy, conveyed the message from the Director General, Lanro Isaonilu. The Deputy Director of Press, Paul Odenye, joins me on the news now for more updates. Mr. Day, good to have you join us on TVC News at 10. Tell us more about this special sensitization visit and your findings.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. About 2 weeks ago, NOA was informed. Are you listening to me?
Yes, please, Mr. Day.
The National Orientation Agency was informed by NISA that the Cameroon authorities have started releasing the water from the Lagdo Dam. In fact, it started exactly on the 17th of September. And so it became imperative that the agency go to work to sensitize Nigerians. The Director General, Malam Laro Saonilu, immediately constituted a committee led by 2 directors and myself to go around the state to ensure that our community orientation officers are at work talking to communities about the effect of the overflow of Lagdo Dam. So far, we have been to Kogi State. Yesterday, we were in Edo State, and today we are in Delta State. The common thing we discovered was that some of these community members are looking at it as something that happens every year. And so they do not really think it's a threat. But that also, what they discovered in Kogi, for instance, is that some of them are actually listening and to what the NOA is saying, that they must leave the community. There's a fishing community along near the Motala Bridge in Kogi State, where we visited 2 days ago. As we were there, many of them were leaving. Again, for instance, yesterday, we saw many of them leaving by boat to either the community across the river.
All right, Mr. Dane.
The important message, yes, sir.
Oh, yes. I was going to ask about what synergy exists between NOA, NEMA, and other agencies of government to ensure that these people who probably do not have alternative homes, that they have at least a safe place to stay pending when this phase is over.
Yes, in Kogi State, in Kogi State, we did the sensitization along with the state emergency management agency and the other officials of government. And it was at that point that the state government in Kogi told the people that they had about 40 IDP camps for people who likely be affected. So it's a joint effort between us, the NOA, and some of the state government institutions. In Aganibode yesterday, one of the revelations we got was that the state government was expecting the federal government to come and do IDP. And our director in Kogi State has been directed by the Director General to go visit SEMA in those states to ensure that there's a place where those who are asking to relocate will stay. We were happy that in Aganibode yesterday, the Director of Social Services was with us, and he explained some of the effort they are making to move people out of the area.
All right, then. Thank you very much. Deputy Director of Press, NOA, Paul Odenyi. Thank you for talking to us on TVC News at 10.